Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name's Jack, this is Jthbooks, and it is time for the August reading wrap-up. Now August, it was just a bit of a month. I have no idea what happened. I have no idea where it went. I don't know what was on my TBR. I don't really know what I read, and I don't think I'm going to remember any of what I've read. Are you excited to watch this video now? No, but seriously, I cannot remember what was on the TBR. I know... No, I can't. I know my non-fiction because I read that, and I know one other book, but anything else, I can't remember. What was it? I couldn't be bothered to check, so I can't be that worried, can I? But just August, what month it was. Let's just crack on and talk about the book, shall we? So first up, I read my non-fiction for the month, which was very high anticipated for me, and it was Arrangements in Blue by Amy Key, Notes on Love and Making a Life. Now, I've spoken about this before on this channel and talking about this book, but I have never been in love. No one's ever loved me. I've never had a romantic partner, and it very much gets me down. It makes me feel very insecure and like there's something wrong with me, blah 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 blah. So when I heard about this book, I thought, this is going to solve all my problems. It's going to solve all my problems. It's like a self-help book, and it wasn't like that. That was my did you hear my bookshelf just creak? That was my sort of misguidedness when going into this book. This is the story of Amy's life and the love she has in her life and how she feels about sort of never having been in love or no one's ever loved her. It's very much more personal. I sort of, but I still enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed it. And towards the end, after I got over the shock, it became phenomenal. It really actually has helped me, and it's told through the songs of Joni Mitchell's Blue album, which is one of the finest albums on the planet. Joni Mitchell, are you watching? I love you. And Brandi Carlile's cover of A Case of You by Joni Mitchell. Brandi, are you watching? I love you too. It's brilliant, but that's besides the point. It gets better and better as it goes along, and it actually has helped me. It has helped me. It's made me realise it's okay to want love, but it doesn't have to be sort of the deciding factor in my life, whether my life is a success or a failure. And I do have love in my life. I have my family, I have my friends. And there is a bit at the back, which I am going to read to you. I don't know if you like this or not, but I'm going to read it because I just thought it was phenomenal. It's literally on the last page. And it just helped me so much. I'm so grateful for this book. And it says this: I'm no longer going to identify myself with failure, allow my big emotions, resentments and desires to burn holes in my self-esteem. I refuse to let what I lack remain the organising principle of my life. I hope to be transformed, not through the neat solution of finding love or persuading myself I don't want it. I hope for more, for plenty, for those other quieter transformations, the ones that make you feel the world all around you. Oh my God, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I thought this was so special. I even did like a little live photo dump on Instagram reading it. My Instagram's always linked down below. You should check it out. It's Jthbooks. Everything. If you want to find me anywhere, it's Jthbooks. Just a little shameless plug there, because no one else is plugging me, so I've got to. In this book, we follow Teddy and Vincent, they're both on foreign exchange programs, both in different countries. And one day, Vincent accepts a request from Teddy, a friend request on Facebook, I do believe. And it's the beginning of a love story. It is the beginning of a love story that spans, a decade. Yeah, over a decade, I do believe. I'm not good at maths. Don't take my maths anytime. What I loved about this book, and it's very much the same with Michael's other book, All of My Friends Are Rich, is there is always meaning to it. It's like you can describe this book as sort of really sweet and fun and sort of like slow burn and romantic, but just to describe it as that would do it a disservice, because there is always depth to his books. Now, in this book, I will say, trigger warnings for sexual assault and for death of a parent and illness. It gets very deep, it gets dark at points, but much like his other book, again, I will keep referencing this, he just handles it so well and so tenderly, and I really enjoy his storytelling. And it feels weird for me to describe this book sort of as sweet, because the sexual assault is very prevalent on the page, and it carries on like sort of the trauma and the after effects, but I think it's all dealt with really well, really delicately. And I'm not just saying this because he sent me it. I will read whatever he writes, because I just think he's very talented, and it gave you all the feels, this one. And it is out in September. I want to say September the 14th, but I don't want to be wrong. September the 14th or 11th, just September. Look out for in September, okay? But I'm so glad I read this. It was sort of just a quick read. I couldn't put it down. So thank you for sending this to me, Michael. Now, next up, because August was Women in Translation Month, and obviously we should be reading translated women all throughout the year. So I did read Strange Beasts of China by Yang Ji, translated by Jeremy Tang. Now, this is the story of an author who lives in this town where they live among these beasts. And it's one whole narrative, but it's split up into sections, and you sort of see her story and the story of a beast. And I just thought it was actually pretty phenomenal. I actually really, really enjoyed it. Okay, so I don't think I did sort of my explaining of the story didn't do the book service. Basically, you just find out about these beasts within the characters' returning whole arc. So you have like returning beasts, and then you have prime beasts, and they each have sort of different characteristics and different things that they do. And I just thought it was phenomenal. It's told sort of really whimsically, and even the characters feel even the beasts feel sort of whimsical, but they have this dark meaning. And then sort of the twist at the end, I really enjoyed. I'm not doing this book service because it just sort of, I started it and I thought, oh, this is quite special actually. And it's a look at society and how we treat things that are different, how we treat them. And then the twist, it's not really a twist, but sort of the narrative plot at the end, I just adored. It felt strange, and it felt special, and it felt like something I hadn't read before, and I loved it. I'm so glad I picked this one up. I just picked it randomly, just because it was Women in Translation Month. I had a whole plethora to choose from up there, but this was just calling to me, and I'm so glad I read this one. Now, these next two I did read in a vlog, my anticipated releases vlog, so I'm going to link that down below, and I'll just speak about them. I'll speak about them quickly. I don't want to bore you. Could I bore you? Did you say yes? I'm going to cry. So first up was How to Die Famous by Benjamin Dean. Now, this is the story of a cursed TV show and the 4 new actors that are starring in the reboot. And it gets wild, it gets crazy, it gets a bit romantic, and it's very queer. I very much enjoyed it. I don't want to speak too much about it because I'll just link the vlog down below. But I did enjoy this one. I've given all of his books 5 stars before. This one is a 4-star. It had a great epilogue, which makes me feel like there might, be a little sequel. I don't know, but it was sort of a look at behind the scenes of a TV show, and it was just a wild ride. It was immensely readable. I couldn't put it down. I read it super quickly, and yeah, I gave it 4 stars. And then we have The Sea Elephants by Shastri Akella. Now, this is about a young boy who his twin sisters die, and to get away from the shame and to get away from his father who doesn't accept him, he goes to a boarding school. He gets put in the boarding school, and then he joins a travelling theatre group and falls in love. And this was my most anticipated read for the second half of the year, and I can't help but feel it was a bit of a letdown. It's very dark. It's hard to read at times. There's a lot of, there's sexual assault, and there's immense bullying, and I think it had moments of brilliance. In the vlog, I read out a passage of just beautiful writing. It had glimpses of that. I think it's a debut book, and you can tell. But I think the second half of it just relies too much on that love story, which I didn't personally get or feel. So I can't help but feeling it was a little bit of a disappointment. But I think I gave it like 3 stars. I can't really remember, but I'm sorry. I'm more sorry for myself than anyone else. And then this one was also in a vlog because you all voted for it, and it was Persuasion by Jane Austen. Now, in this we follow Anne, who called off her engagement, and 8 years later he shows up again in her life. And you should watch the vlog. Not many people did. Not many people ever do. No one really watches these videos. I don't know why I make them. But it was fine. It was fine. There were parts of it I really liked. There are parts of it I really loved. There are aspects to Jane Austen's writing that I really, really love, and some that she bores me to tears. I'm not gonna lie. But there is a letter in this which, oh my god, the letter. It bumped up a whole star if you watch the vlog. I just loved it. So, and to be fair, the 2 books I read after this, I don't know what happened to me after I read this. I don't know if the books just weren't great or my mental health went. I don't know, but it made this seem like a 10 stars. So, next up, I read The Vaster Wilds by Lauren Groff. Now, I don't know what happened in this. It's about sort of a servant girl who runs away into sort of the wilderness. That's it. That's really what that happens. And then you sort of get glimpses of her remembering her old life, but sort of trying to survive in the wilderness. And I really don't know if it was me or it was the book. I really don't. I wish I could have a clear answer for you. But I don't get it. It was very much her just sort of running and looking for a place to sleep, and then being ill and sleeping through the night, and then running again, and then being ill and sleeping through the night. The writing was quite hard to get into. There was sort of a section where I thought, oh no, I'm into it, but it didn't last long. And I get what it says about, you know, this servant girl and sort of her whole town have come over, you know, gone to America, and it's about colonialism, and then it's sort of how the people that were native to the land have been pushed aside. I got all that, but I don't think it goes into that enough for it to be about that. It's just sort of this girl's story, which I just didn't find that interesting. Maybe it was the book, but it took me like a week to read this. I didn't like it. And I've never read a Lauren Groff book before, and people love her, and I feel like I'm going to be in the minority, and this will be on prize lists and whatever. But a servant girl escapes from a colonial settlement into the wilderness. What she finds there will bend her belief of everything that her own civilization has taught her. At once a thrilling adventure story and a prophetic fable. I just didn't get that. I didn't get that. I get what he was saying about colonialism, like I said, but it doesn't go into enough detail. It wasn't for me. I gave it 2 stars. It wasn't for me. But it is out in September if you would like to read it, because I'm sure I just really sold that to you. And lastly, I read Wednesday's Child by Yuyin, which was sent to me kindly by 4th Estate Books, and it is out in September, on September the 14th. Now, I own quite a few of Yuyin books, but this is the first one I've read, and this is a short story collection. And there are pros and cons to this one. Not every story was for me, because it never often is in a short story collection. But what I will say is every story, I could appreciate the storytelling, and I could really appreciate the themes. There's themes of grief and motherhood and immigration and migrants, and that was all absolutely brilliant. Some were really, really gripping. It's definitely made me want to read one of her full-length novels. And what I like about it, there were sort of themes running throughout, so it almost felt like every story could connect. Every story sort of had that same feeling, even though they were at times wildly different. So I really liked that it felt like a collective whole. It felt like a really sort of strong story collection. But that's weird to say, because not every story was for me. But I just really liked it. I really liked her writing. It was very, like, it just felt really beautiful, especially after that bloody Vast and Wild book. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. And it's out September 14th. And look at the cover. Isn't the cover just absolutely stunning? So that was it. That was my reading month. 8 books. I don't know how many pages. Normally I tell you all that, but I do not know. I don't know what happened to me at the end of August. But thank you all so much for watching. Let me know how many books you read, or if you've read any of these, or if you want to read any of these. And feel free to hit that like and subscribe button, because nobody does. Nobody does. And I'm going to speak to you all really, really soon.